cameras weren't rolling yet, but the silence on set felt heavy. People whispered, moved props quietly, and tapped on screens. But Ana de Armas stood still. Her hands trembled slightly as she held the script. The words on the page weren't the problem. It was the weight of everything around Hertha. Expectations, the lights, the pressure to be perfect. It was her first day on this new film, a massive project, the kind of project that could shape her career for years to come. And beside her in the next trailer was the man everyone called the kindest actor in Hollywood, Keanu Reeves. Ana had met him once before. Just once. It was brief, a handshake at an award show. She remembered his soft smile and how he had looked. Her in the eye when he said, "Nice to meet you." That moment stayed with her. Not because he was famous, but because he had made her feel seen. Now they were going to act together, side by side. But as the assistant director called out her name, her chest tightened. She wasn't sure if she could do it. Her lines were ready. Her hair was done. Her costume fit perfectly. But her mind was racing. What if she froze? What if she forgot everything the moment the camera turned to her? Then, just before she stepped onto the set, she heard footsteps behind her. "Hey," a quiet voice said. She turned. It was Keanu. His hair was slightly messy, like he hadn't looked in the mirror before walking in. He was holding a half-drunk coffee cup and had a calm, relaxed expression on his face. "You good?" he asked. Ana tried to answer, but her voice cracked. "I'm just a little nervous," she admitted. Keanu nodded slowly, as if her words were the most natural thing in the world. "Me too," he said. Ana blinked. "What?" "I'm nervous too," Keanu repeated, shrugging. "First scenes always make my stomach feel weird. Usually just pretend I'm a tree or something until it passes." Psst. Ana laughed, a small, genuine sound. The tension in her shoulders dropped slightly. "A tree?" she asked, smiling for the first time all morning. "Yeah," Keanu said, grinning. "Trees don't worry about their lines. They just stand there. And eventually the wind moves them, and they're part of the scene. Simple." Ana looked at him like he had just performed a magic trick. The way he spoke so casually, so openly made her feel like the fear wasn't a monster anymore. "It's just a passing shadow." "Thank you," she said. He nodded. "Anytime. By side together, side by side. Am I talking much?" But something had shifted. She was still nervous, yes. But now, she wasn't alone. The scene was simple. Ana had to walk into a room, sit across from Keanu, and deliver one line with a quiet sadness. The room was quiet. The lights were hot. The camera was rolling. She stepped into the room and sat down. Keanu looked at her, waiting for the cue. But the second the red light blinked, something unexpected happened. Ana forgot the line. Her mind went blank, total silence. A few seconds passed. She stared at him, panic rising. The crew was frozen, the air thick. But instead of reacting with frustration or impatience, Keanu leaned forward just a little and whispered, "You're a tree. Remember?" That was all, just that one sentence. Ana smiled. It wasn't forced. Wasn't fake. It was real. And somehow the line came back to her like a wave returning to shore. She said it perfectly. With exactly the emotion the director had asked for. Cut. The director shouted, "Beautiful! That was perfect!" The crew clapped softly, but Ana didn't look at them. She looked at Keanu. He gave her a small thumbs up. No big speech. Reaction. Just kindness in its simplest form. During lunch break, Ana sat under a small tent with a plate of food. She wasn't hungry, but she stayed there, picking at her rice. Keanu walked by, holding a sandwich in one hand and a book in the other. He saw her and paused. "Mind if I join you?" he asked. She nodded. They sat in silence for a while. Then Ana asked, "How do you always stay so calm?" Keanu thought for a moment. "I don't," he said, "but I've learned to stay kind. Even when I'm scared, even when I'm tired, that's something I can control." Ana looked at him, surprised again by how open he was. "Kindness is a choice," he continued. Not a reaction. She didn't know what to say. But her chest felt lighter. They talked for an hour about everything. Not just the film, about their pasts, about hard moments. about the people they had lost, about the things they never said. In interviews and in that conversation, a friendship began. Not loud, not flashy. But real Anna realized that sometimes the strongest people are not the ones who never shake, but the ones who offer a smile when you're afraid to breathe. That night, after they wrapped the shoot, Anna stood alone in her trailer. She looked in. The mirror, her makeup was smudged, her hair a mess. But her eyes, they were calm. Her phone buzzed. A message from Keanu. You were amazing today. Don't let your mind tell you otherwise. Good night, Tree. Anna laughed again, this time louder, this time with her whole heart, and she whispered to herself, thank you, Keanu. Because sometimes all it takes to change a day is one person who sees you when you're scared. It makes you laugh instead. The next morning, Anna arrived on set earlier than usual. The sun hadn't fully risen yet, and the sky was painted in soft pink and gray. The lot was almost empty, except for a few crew members setting up lights. She carried a coffee in both hands, one for herself and one for Keanu. She didn't know if he liked it black or sweet, strong or light, but she took a guess. Something warm, something gentle, something that made people feel better. As she stood near his trailer, unsure if she should knock, the door opened slowly. Keanu stepped out, yawning, hair even messier than yesterday, eyes still half asleep. Good morning, Anna said softly, holding out the second cup. Keanu blinked, then smiled. For me? She nodded. I didn't know what you liked. So, it might taste terrible. He took it, sipped, paused dramatically, and then said, this is probably the best terrible coffee I've ever had. Anna laughed again. It was becoming a habit now. They walked together toward the soundstage. The air was still cool, and their steps echoed across the concrete. There was no pressure in that moment. No cameras, no expectations. Just two people, starting their day, but the peace didn't last long. Inside, the mood was tense. A major scene had been moved up in the schedule. The lead director was absent due to an emergency, and a backup director had taken over. The scene was emotional. Anna had a breakdown crying in front of Keanu after a long monologue. It wasn't easy. Not even for someone experienced. And I sat in the makeup chair. Listening to the scene description again, the assistant whispered, he wants one long take, no cuts, raw emotion, real tears. Anna swallowed hard. Real tears? She had practiced it 12 times, alone, with a coach, in her hotel room, facing a mirror, but something about doing it now. Under pressure, with new direction, with everyone watching, it made her stomach twist. Keanu walked by and caught a glimpse of her face. She was biting her lip, holding back that heavy feeling again. He paused beside her. You okay? He asked. She nodded quickly. Too quickly, I'll be fine. She said. Keanu didn't press. Just walked away. Or so she thought. 5 minutes later, someone tapped her shoulder. It was a crew member. He's holding out a note from Keanu, the man said. Anna unfolded the paper. It was handwritten. Don't try to cry. Don't force it. Just feel the moment. And if nothing comes, it's still okay. Your honesty is more important than your tears. Anna stared at the note for a long time. She took a deep breath. The cameras rolled. Anna stood opposite Keanu. The room was silent except for the distant hum of equipment. She began her monologue. Voice steady at first. The words were scripted, but they carried weight. The lines spoke of loss, of silence between people, of missed chances, and then halfway through, something shifted. Her voice cracked. Not on purpose. Not as a performance. It cracked because something inside her broke open, and the tears came, slow at first. Then faster. Keanu didn't speak. His eyes didn't move, just listened, fully present, like her pain was the only thing that mattered. In the world at that moment, when she finished, the room was still quiet. No one called cut. They didn't have to. Anna lowered her head, wiping her face with her sleeve. Then she heard the soft clap. One clap. Then another. Soon the crew was quietly applauding. But Keanu didn't clap. He just smiled gently and mouthed, "You felt it." After the scene, Anna sat alone on the steps outside the studio. She wasn't crying anymore. She was quiet, processing. Keanu joined her. He handed her a bottle of water and sat without saying anything. Finally, she said, "That wasn't acting." "I know," he replied. It felt like something I hadn't touched in years. Something real. Like it came from a place I forgot existed. Keanu looked up at the sky. Sometimes the roles dig into our real lives, not to hurt us, but to remind us. Remind us of what? She asked. He looked at her, not with intensity, just patience, that we're still human. Anna let the silence sit between them for a while. Then she said, "You knew this would happen, didn't you?" He smiled. "No, but I hoped it would." "Why?" "Because I saw something in you the first day. Something quiet, like a voice that hasn't been heard yet. And I wanted to see what it would sound like." Anna looked at him, unsure how to respond. No one had ever said something like that to her, not even in her closest friendships. And here was a man who barely spoke, yet saw through her like glass. That evening, Anna received a call from her mother. "I saw the stills from today," her mother said. "You looked ... powerful, proud of you." Anna smiled through the phone. "Thanks, Mama." But after they hung up, she didn't feel proud. She felt something different. She felt grateful. Grateful for the moment. For the emotion, and especially for Keanu. He hadn't given her a speech. He hadn't tried to fix her. He just stood beside her, quietly, with kindness. And sometimes, it was all a person needed to shine. Later that night, she sent him a text. "Thank you again. You didn't have to care, but you did." Keanu replied minutes later, "I didn't have to. I wanted to." Anna stared at the message, then typed one more word. "Why?" The response came quickly. "Because someone did the same for me once, and it changed everything." Anna held the phone close to her chest. A new kind of warmth bloomed in her heart. This wasn't just a work relationship. It was something else. Something that didn't have a label yet. But whatever it was real, and it was just beginning. Anna woke up before the alarm. The room was still dark, but her thoughts were wide awake. Her heart was steady, not heavy like before. Something had shifted inside her, and she knew exactly when it had happened, during that scene, during that silence. During that message from Keanu, it wasn't just about acting anymore. It was about connection. On set that morning, she felt the change too. The crew greeted her with more warmth, like they had seen something in her they hadn't seen before. The director gave her a nod of quiet respect. Even the lighting guy winked and said, "We saw a star yesterday." But Anna wasn't chasing stardom. She was chasing truth, and somehow, Keanu kept helping her find it. The next scene was different. It was a flashback, her character laughing over coffee in a quiet diner, telling stories with a light in her eyes. A different kind of emotion, softer, happier, but happiness, Anna realized, could be harder to perform than sorrow. Real joy came from a place of freedom, and even though she had grown more confident, there was still a small fear inside her. What if she couldn't access that kind of light? As the cameras were being set up, Anna sat at the corner booth on the fake diner set. She stared at the empty coffee cup in front of her, thinking. Then Keanu slid into the seat across from her. Without a word, he placed 2 real donuts on the table and smiled. "They're warm," he said. "And I paid for them with a terrible joke." Anna raised an eyebrow. "What kind of joke?" Keanu cleared his throat and said, "Why don't skeletons fight each other?" Anna stared at him. "I don't know why." "Because they don't have the guts." Anna blinked, then burst out laughing. Real loud, unfiltered laughter. Keanu grinned. "See, you already nailed the scene." She wiped her eyes. "You're ridiculous." "I know," he said, biting into a donut. And just like that, the moment was real, not acted, not planned. Just 2 people, sharing something silly before the camera rolled. When the director called action, Anna didn't have to pretend. Laughter in her voice, the spark in her eyes, it was all there. She looked at Keanu during the scene, and he looked back like he wasn't playing a role at all. They were just being. When the scene ended, the director clapped once and said, "That's it." No second take needed. And everyone relaxed. Anna leaned back. Breathing deeply, Keanu handed her a napkin. For the donut sugar on your nose, he whispered. She laughed again. During their lunch break, Keanu walked out to the edge of the lot where a patch of grass and a small tree stood. She sat beneath it, letting the sunlight hit her face. It felt good. Real Keanu joined her, holding a book again. You read a lot, Anna said. He nodded.
Got it.
It helps keep me grounded. What kind of books? That remind me I'm not the center of the universe, he said. Even when the world pretends I am. Anna paused, then asked, do you ever get tired of it? Keanu looked up from the book of what? Being watched. Being expected to always be ... good. He closed the book softly. Yes, but I'd rather be known for kindness than for talent. Anna thought about that. I used to want fame, she said. But now ... I think I just want to be understood. Keanu smiled gently. You're getting there.
Thanks to you?
She whispered. No, he said. Thanks to you. You chose to be brave. Anna didn't know what to say after that, so she didn't. They just sat there, under the tree, saying nothing but understanding everything that night. Anna went back to her hotel. She opened her notebook and wrote down a single sentence. Today, I laughed. And it felt like healing. She didn't explain it. She didn't need to. 3 days later, the scene schedule changed again. Anna would have to perform a moment of anger. Something she rarely felt in real life. Her character had to explode. Shout. Break down in frustration. Anna stood in her trailer, staring at the mirror. She repeated the lines, but they felt hollow. She had no idea how to summon rage without faking it. The knock on her door came, exactly when she needed it. Keanu entered with a single prop in hand, a fake plastic hammer from the props department. He handed it to her. Break something, he said. What? Trust me. They went outside, to a quiet back corner of the lot where no one could see them. He placed an old wooden crate on the ground. Hit it, he said. But just do it. Anna raised the toy hammer and hit the crate. Nothing happened again. He said, she hit it harder. Still nothing. Again, she slammed it. This time it cracked slightly again. Something inside her snapped. She screamed without warning and hit the crate with all her strength. It broke. Then she stood there, panting. Keanu handed her water and said, that's the place you go to for the scene. Not because you hate, but because you care so much that it hurts. Anna nodded, tears in her eyes. Thank you, she whispered. Anytime, he said. And that afternoon, Anna delivered the most intense performance of the film. Every emotion poured from her like a storm, breaking free after holding back the rain. For weeks, when it was done, the room was quiet again. Even Keanu looked moved. After the director said cut, everyone took a step back. No one wanted to interrupt the rawness. But Keanu stepped forward and simply said, you're brave. And Anna smiled through the tears, because for the first time, she believed it too. The next few days on set felt different. Anna moved with more calm. Her steps were lighter, her voice more sure. The weight she once carried had shifted. She wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. She was just telling the truth through her scenes, and behind that quiet strength, always in the background, was Keanu. He never pushed her, never tried to take the spotlight. He simply stayed close, offered a joke when she looked tired, a gentle nod when she needed courage. Sometimes they didn't even speak. But even his silence felt kind. One morning after a powerful night scene that left everyone emotionally drained, the director called for a break day. No filming, just rest. Anna was grateful. She returned to her hotel, thinking she would sleep, maybe read, maybe stay in bed all day. But around noon, her phone buzzed. A message from Keanu. You ever ride a motorcycle? Yana stared at the screen. Confused? No. Why? I have 2 helmets. They met outside the studio lot. Keanu stood beside a sleek black bike, wearing a simple jacket and holding out a helmet for her. I promise to drive slow, he said. Anna laughed nervously. I trust you. It's the pavement I don't trust. They rode out of the city. away from the noise, away from the tension of cameras and trailers and scripts. The wind hit her face like a fresh wave of freedom. The road stretched out before them, open and quiet. Anna closed her eyes once and let herself feel it fully, this moment of escape. They stopped at a hilltop cafe an hour later. Not many people were there. No one recognized them. It felt like the world had forgotten who they were in that forgetting. They found peace. They sat at a small wooden table overlooking the valley below. "Why did you bring me here?" Anna asked. Sipping her tea, Keanu looked at the view. "Because sometimes it helps to see how big the world really is and how small we are." "No," he said, "how small our fear is." "Anna, let that settle in. You always say the right thing," she said softly. Keanu smiled. "No. Just don't rush to speak." They talked for hours. About life, childhood, regrets, the people they missed, the people they forgave. Anna found herself telling stories she hadn't shared in years, like the time she ran away from her first audition crying because someone told her she didn't look serious enough to be a real actress, or the time she almost quit acting altogether after being humiliated during a screen test. "What stopped you?" Keanu asked, odd. Anna looked at her hands. "I remembered a letter my grandmother wrote me," she said. "She said, if you leave the stage, the world misses your story." I held on to that. Keanu nodded slowly. "That's beautiful. What about you?" she asked. "Was there a moment when you almost gave up?" He took a long breath. "More than one," he said. "But each time someone showed up, said something kind, which reminded me I wasn't alone." He looked at her then, and his voice softened. "I guess I'm just passing it forward." Anna felt tears build again, not from sadness, from understanding. He wasn't just helping her, he was healing too. On the ride back, the sky began to change. Soft clouds turned orange and pink as the sun dipped low. Anna held onto Keanu's jacket a little tighter, not from fear, because she didn't want the day to end. When they reached the studio, she stepped off the bike, smiling. "Thank you," she said, "for everything." Keanu removed his helmet. "You're doing the hard part," he replied. "I'm just here when you need a reminder." Anna looked at him for a long second. "You've become more than that," she said quietly. Tilted his head. "More than what?" "More than a reminder." He didn't answer, but the way he looked at her, it said everything. The next morning, the mood on set was serious. They were filming one of the final emotional scenes where Anna's character had to confront the one person who always believed in her, say goodbye. It was the scene both she and Keanu had been working toward for weeks. The set was quiet. Keanu noticed something in Anna's expression. "You okay?" he asked. Anna looked at him, eyes shining. "I don't want this to end." He nodded. "Me neither. I've never felt this ... scene. And remember it," he said. "Carry it into your next role, your next city, your next quiet morning. It's yours now." Anna swallowed hard. "What if I lose it?" Keanu smiled. "You won't, because it's not from the outside anymore. It's in you." The camera rolled. Anna walked into the scene slowly, with a sadness that didn't need to be performed, was real. She looked at Keanu. His face held everything. The quiet strength, the steady calm, the kindness that had changed her from the inside out. The script called for goodbye, but when the moment came, Anna broke from the words. She said something different, something true. "Thank you," she whispered. Keanu blinked, caught off guard, but only for a second. "You're welcome," he replied softly. Cut. No one spoke. No one moved. Then the director said with a crack in his voice, "That was it. That's the scene." And the room broke into quiet applause again. But all Anna could do was breathe, deeply, fully alive, in a way she hadn't felt. In years later that evening, back in her trailer, she found a note under her door. A small piece of paper. "Sometimes the best performances are just us being honest. You were honest." And it was beautiful. Kayana pressed the note to her chest. Outside, the sun was setting, but inside she was just beginning to rise. The final week of filming had arrived. Costumes were worn in. Scripts were softer from folding and sweat. The crew moved like clockwork now. Everyone knew their marks. But beneath that surface routine was a quiet, shared sadness, because something rare had happened on this set, something special. And everyone could feel that it was almost over. Anna felt it the most. Each day she woke up with a mix of joy and dread. Joy, because she got to work with Keanu one more time. Dread, because the time was running out. She had been on other sets, with other actors, other stories, but this one was different. Because here, she had changed. And the one who helped her change was about to walk out of her life. Maybe not completely. But the magic of this place, the morning coffee, the quiet conversations under trees, long rides on empty roads, couldn't be kept forever, and maybe that's what made it so meaningful. On the second to last day, small wrap dinner was held after the shoot. Not everyone came. Just a few crew members, a few cast. Someone brought a cake. Someone else brought music. Anna wore a simple dress and sat near the window. Watching the night sky above the city, Keanu walked in late. Wore the same thing? He always wore black shirt, soft boots, no flash. He moved quietly, greeted everyone with a smile. But his eyes kept drifting toward her. Finally, he made his way to her table. "Hey," he said. "Hey," she replied. They sat without speaking for a while. The music played low in the background. People laughed and toasted and took blurry pictures. But at their table, there was stillness. "I keep thinking this might be the last quiet moment," Anna said. Keanu looked at her. "There's no such thing," he said. "Quiet moments come whenever we listen." Anna smiled. "You always say things like that." "Like what?" "It's like you're from another planet." Keanu laughed. "Maybe I am." She tilted her head, teasing. "What planet? One made of kindness?" He looked out the window, then whispered, "One made of second chances." Ina's smile faded. She could feel the weight in those words. "You still think you need one?" she asked softly. Keanu nodded. "Don't we all?" They didn't speak after that, but something deeper passed between them. Something unsaid but understood. On the last day of filming, the final scene was simple. Anna and Keanu's characters sat on a train. No lines, no dramatic goodbye. Just the feeling of two souls sharing a journey, unsure where it would lead. But knowing they were not alone. The train set wasn't moving, of course. It was built on a soundstage surrounded by cameras and lights. But inside it, the silence felt real. Anna sat by the window. Keanu across from her. The director said, "Let it breathe. Just be." So they did. Anna looked at Keanu. He looked back. And in that look, everything that had been growing between them over the past weeks, trust, respect, something maybe even stronger, it all came to the surface without a single word. When the director finally whispered cut, no one moved right away. Anna blinked slowly. Her throat felt tight. Keanu reached across the table and gently placed his hand over hers. Just for a moment, then he let go. After the wrap, the studio emptied quickly. People packed bags, shook hands, gave half-hearted goodbyes. Some promised to stay in touch. Others quietly disappeared. Anna sat on the edge of the set alone. Holding her last copy of the script, Keanu approached slowly. He was holding a folded piece of cloth. "For you," said, handing it to her. She opened it. It was one of the tree print scarves he wore in their first week, green, soft and worn. "You're giving me your favorite scarf?" she asked. "No," he said. "I'm giving you a reminder of what? Of what you grew into." Anna held the scarf tightly in her hands. "You are my reminder," she whispered. Keanu smiled. "And you are my reason." "For what?" "For staying." Because she already knew. The car was waiting outside to take her to the airport. They stood together in the parking lot, the cool air brushing past them like a goodbye in motion. Anna hesitated. "Do you think we'll see each other again?" Asked. Keanu didn't answer right away. Then he said, "I think when people connect like this, they don't need to chase each other. Life brings them back. You believe that?" He nodded. "With my whole heart." Anna looked at him then. Without another word, She stepped forward and hugged him. Not quickly, not as friends, but as two souls, saying something that words couldn't. Keanu held her back. Gently, fully, like he knew this hug would live in both of them long after today. When she pulled away, she whispered, "Goodbye, tree." Keanu smiled. "Goodbye, light." She climbed into the car, scarf still wrapped around her fingers, and as the vehicle pulled away, Keanu stood in the same spot, watching until the red lights disappeared into the city. He didn't wave, he didn't turn away. He just stood there, remembering every moment, and hoping life would keep its promise. The weeks after filming passed in a blur. Interviews, photo shoots, travel, questions about the movie, questions about her process, questions she had answered 100 times before, but one question kept returning. How did you bring so much honesty to your role? Anna always smiled. Sometimes she said, "I studied the character closely." Other times I tried to find myself in her pain. But the truth was simpler. She had found honesty, because someone gave her a safe place to feel, and that someone was Keanu. Months later, the movie premiered. Red carpet, flashes, microphones, voices calling her name, compliments on her dress, about her beauty. But none of it made her heart beat faster. What did was seeing Keanu walk down the carpet, dressed as always in black eyes, calm, smile soft. When they finally stood side by side for a photo, the noise around them faded. "Hey, tree," she whispered. He chuckled under his breath. "Light." They didn't need to say more, but as they posed, Anna felt something different. The world around them was loud, but the space between them was quiet. Sacred and steady, just like always. Inside the theater, they sat 2 rows apart. It was better. That whale's attention. Less talk, more space to breathe. As the film began, Anna felt her chest tighten. Scene after scene played on screen. Every moment she remembered, every laugh, every breakdown, every quiet look between them. It was all there. When the train scene came, her breath caught in her throat. She remembered what she had felt that day. Not acting, not performance. Just truth. And she realized something it had never been about making. The perfect film. It had been about becoming a fuller version of herself by the time the credits rolled. People were wiping their eyes. The audience gave a long, slow standing ovation. Anna stood too, clapping softly. But her eyes weren't on the screen, they were on Keanu. He wasn't clapping. He was just looking at her, not with pride, but with peace. Like someone who had planted a tree and was watching it bloom. After the premiere, they slipped away from the crowd. Out the side door, into the night. No paparazzi, no noise, just quiet footsteps. On pavement, they stopped near a small garden behind the theater. A single light buzzed above them. Anna turned to him. "So, what now?" Keanu looked up at the sky. "We live our lives." "Apart?" she asked. He looked at her, then said, "Not apart, just walking different roads for now." "Do you ever miss people when they walk away?" "Only when they leave for the wrong reasons." Anna nodded. Double quotes. "And if they come back," he smiled, "then maybe they were never really gone." The months that followed were busy. Anna traveled to Spain, then to London, then back to Los Angeles. She starred in another film, something very different. More dramatic, more intense, and yet she was different now, stronger to calm her. There were hard days. But now she knew how to breathe through them, how to remember who she was. Not because someone told her, but because someone showed her how. Then, one quiet morning, almost a year later, Anna got a letter, not a text, not an email, a real letter, handwritten, no return address, just a short message. They asked me to recommend someone who could carry a story with grace, silence, and strength. I gave them your name. The story is yours now. If you say yes, we'll be filming together again. Different set, same quiet. Kana didn't wait. She called her agent and said one word, yes. Weeks later, she arrived at a new studio lot. Same early morning air, same trailers, different story. But when she stepped out of the car, and looked across the lot. She saw him, Keanu, standing beside a coffee cart. He held 2 cups. He raised one of them and smiled. "Still didn't know how you take it," he said. Anna walked toward him, laughing. "As long as it's warm," she replied, "I'll drink it." They stood there, side by side. No rush. No fear. Just a quiet beginning. Again. And as they stepped onto the set, this new place, this new journey, Ina felt something deep in her chest. A certainty that even though time passes and stories end, some connections don't fade. Some lights don't go out. And some people, they stay not by force, not by promises, but by choice. Because they see you. Because they believe in you. Because when the whole world expects perfection, they're the ones who remind you to laugh instead.